What's poppin', y'all? It's your favorite trans vampire, Rivera Vlogs. Hi, I'm Taylor, and if you're new here, thank you for coming to my channel. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you for joining me again. But if you are new here, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see more of my ranting comments. So today we're gonna rant, which is my favorite subject. So I have all the receipts on my phone. So today we're gonna talk about the state of Illinois wanting LGBT history to be taught in schools and classrooms. Now you would think, okay, cool, whatever, if you're like, a decent human being. However, we already know shit is obviously not going to go well whatsoever, because honestly, that's life, especially when you're living as a black queer person. It seems like the gay community doesn't like you because you're black, and then the black community doesn't like you because you're queer, so you're kind of just like, oh well. But today we're going to talk about that. So I have all the receipts on my phone. It was a lot of screenshotting and a lot of messiness. But before we get into that, let me just list you the news source so you know how messy this has gotten. Originally, I saw this story from the Shade Room, even though I personally do not follow the Shade Room because they honestly do nothing good for the LGBT community whatsoever. They never post anything positive about it. They only post the negative stuff, even though one of the heads is a queer person, which I find, suspicious. And the only time they do post about the LGBT community is when they want to cause a whole war in the comment section. And, I don't fuck with that, honestly. Also, they're extremely biased, and I really just don't fuck with the Shade Room in general. So let me just start there. So, knowing the Shade Room, the only reason they posted this was to get a rise out of people. I actually read the article they posted, and it wasn't a lot to it, to be honest. And the problem is that no one actually looked at the articles on the Shade Room. The only reason I looked at it was so I can get all the, proper receipts down so I didn't look like a total dumbass. But basically, what happened is that this public school in Illinois thinks that LGBT history should be taught, and a bill was introduced to the state by Representative Anna Moeller and will come to effect on July 1st, 2020. Which, okay, work. Now, the articles I found don't really specifically say. If it does, if you find an article that does, please tell me in the comment section below. But I imagine that it's gonna be kind of like but I can see one or two things happening, which I'm like about. But I can kind of see LGBT history being like, how like you have your multiple courses in history, like chapters in a textbook. I don't really know. It's been a while since I've been in school, to be honest, and my sister's not at that level of education yet that she has like really like the courses in the textbooks or whatever. But like when you have like a textbook and the chapters, basically we'll just go with chapters. But I imagine it'll just be like a chapter maybe in the history book, or I can also see it as them just sprinkling the LGBT people in where they respectively belong. What I would prefer is an LGBT elective course. I think that's like, I don't know, like a whole course dedicated to it, but once again, as an elective, so people don't think it's forced or whatever. Also, it's like a whole, it's like a whole dedication not a whole dedication, it's a whole class and a whole elective dedicated to that. I mean, you can go through more, talk about more, have bigger discussions, stuff like that. And I think that an elective would be, the best idea. But besides my idea of what I would like from the situation, Twitter lost their mind. So I'm gonna put the screenshots, let's scoot over this way. So the screenshots are gonna go here, right here. That's where the screenshots are gonna go. And we're gonna get into it. So recently, as like 5 hours ago, maybe or whatever, I saw this on Twitter with the little scupatumana, whatever that means or whatever. And the comments were trash. Honestly, they were trash. There were some good comments like this one, but honestly, these comments were ignorant, ill-informed, and just straight up homophobic. And the worst part is that it's coming from our own people, once again, because the Shade Room knows their demographic. Like this comment right here, LGBTQ ABC history before the slave trade history, bet. Is it just me, or does anyone else like totally remember the triangle slave trade that went from Africa to Europe to America, back to Africa. Does no one else remember that? Literally, does no one else remember that? Because honestly, I feel like, am I in a Mandela effect or something? Because I felt like we learned about the triangle slave trade, or just slave trade history in general. And then, you know, we have really kind comments like this. I wish y'all would understand the impact of the LGBTQ plus community has had on Black history. It was the LGBT folks that propelled / created some of the most fundamental Black movements like Black Lives Matter. LGBTQ history is Black history, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. I feel like the Black community a lot of times thinks that the gay community is nothing but like white gay men, which honestly I definitely understand, because that is, you know, unfortunately what they seem to want to portray no matter what. Thankfully we're moving forward as a community. However, I can see why they think that. However, I find it funny that there are so many Black queer people, but y'all seem to say, oh, they're not Black, basically, or treat them as if they're not Black, which I dealt with after I got into a long Twitter argument. So we have a comment like this, which is obviously ill-informed. It says, they have yet to teach truth, Black culture and history that has been hidden, but rather teach kids about the LGBTQ. I understand the standpoint of having kids being unbiased and judgment-free, but kids, though prioritized, you still got kids who think Columbus found America. And a lot of these comments I'm kind of seeing the same thing, especially from my own community, which I love, to be honest, that they think this is somehow against Black people, which I don't understand whatsoever. I don't understand why they think that the LGBT is always coming for Black people whenever something good happens for our community, which sucks because, once again, I am in both. I am in hella communities. Like, it really sucks when I see multiple of my marginalized communities go at each other's throats, because I'm like, oh, but I'm this, but I'm also that. So it's like, it's annoying, to be honest. And a lot of these comments seem to be about the, you know, education system, but honestly, I feel like Black people are trying to use Black history like white people use veterans, to be honest, in a way that, you ever notice that whenever something gay happens, like during Pride Month, how all the white Republicans were talking about, oh, well, where's Veterans Pride Month, where's veterans this, veterans that, veterans this, and it seems like they only want to mention veterans when it's to tear down another group, because honestly, a good portion of our homeless population are veterans, but I don't see y'all helping them. In fact, y'all actively go against them by putting spikes on benches. But anyways, so there's another comment that says, why are there so many spaces? So how teaching LGBT to kids would help them? Serious question. All a part of the Illuminati plan, government programming, young minds trying so hard to normalize the shit. Dressing in drag is not normal. We're just gonna skip that one because that's some crackhead energy. We're gonna get into the rant part of the video. I know y'all are here for the whole backstory and all that shit, but we're gonna get into the rant part. There are still queer kids killing themselves because they're bullied because they're queer. Especially me growing up queer. It was not fun. It was hell. It was definitely hell. It was really fucked up because it came from my own community. My own community. And like, that's one thing I don't think that a lot of Black people realize, is that they're always talking about unity and shit, but they love to divide us so much. It's really fucked up, to be honest. It's also really fucked up the fact that I mentioned that the creators of the Black Lives Matter movement were queer people, and he was like, oh, that's not good enough. But I bet you next week that dude will tweet something about Black Lives Matter, but we're not gonna get into that. I also think it's really fucked up for some reason that Black people think that Illuminati is somehow creating gay people or something. Like, I'm me. Oh, wow. I'm me. Period. There is no secret in the water. There is no nothing. I'm me. Cause I'm me. And it's really that simple. And I feel like it's not really clicking. The unfortunate situation is that white people fucked Black people up really bad when it came to homosexuality. And it really fucked up our community, because back in like Africa and shit, we had queer people, but it was just like a normal thing. It wasn't anything like, oh, you know, something crazy or whatever. And then when white people came along, for some reason, white people, the fucking colonizers, sick ass, thought that rape was a form of punishment, which, you know, that's where a lot of our problems come from in the black community, is the fact that white people instilled so much fear of certain things into us. And for so many years, that's like what we kind of still think, to be honest. Like, when you think about the light skin versus dark skin thing, obviously that comes from house slaves versus field slaves. When you think about, like, certain things, even the food we eat, it still affects us to this day. And honestly, what pisses me off about the situation is that the fact that the woke, and I'm gonna use woke lightly, they're hoteps, to be honest, because they say a lot of sexist shit too. It really pisses me off that the hoteps think that there's a whole thing trying to demasculinize or whatever, or feminize the black man, which honestly, I don't understand, because honestly, feminine black men existed all throughout time. You know, I really don't understand. I really don't understand why they think that queer people are a whole government thing. Like, literally, if I was a government spy or a government experiment or whatever, wouldn't my life be better? Wouldn't I be living like some kind of government mansion or something? Like, would I have a room and a roommate like right next to Donald Trump or something? Like, I'm really confused as to what y'all think. Like, what do you, like, I really want to know the whole thing behind it. And the whole conspiracy theories about the queer community really just piss me off, because it always comes from my own community. Every YouTuber I look up will always, that's talking about like bad stuff about the queer community and the Illuminati, they're always black. It's never white people that think about this shit. White people think that, you know, the country is trying to eradicate all white people. And everyone thinks that's crazy, but for some reason in our own community, we think that queer people are trying to turn everyone queer. And that's, you know, that's logical, that makes sense. And, you know, a lot of times I see comments like, oh, they're trying to shove it in our faces and stuff, da-da-da-da-da. You know, I don't want my kids growing up gay. And honestly, what I find funny is that they always talk about how back in the day they didn't have all this. But if back in the day you didn't have all this, why do we exist? Why are there so many of us? Like, I really don't understand the logic. And for me, it's really not clicking. I think that we need to come together as a community, and that's on period. I don't really understand why they think that we're out to get them, that black queer people don't exist, and that you can't have both. A better teaching of black history and a course, an elective, a chapter on queer history. Literally, doesn't make sense. Like, literally, it's not that big of a deal. And then, you know, I saw people commenting like that were positive about it, and you know, one thing I could definitely think of as someone who did go to public high school is, oh, okay, easy credit. Like, you know, I really don't see the bad. And what pisses me off is that the Shade Room decided it'd be cute, and I use cute very lightly, to use a picture of kids to have the little thumbnail or whatever. And this is what you call clickbaiting, kids. This is clickbaiting, because honestly, I don't see them going over this in elementary school whatsoever. This is what I would like to see. You know how you have your, like, you know, French 1, French 2, French 3, French 4, and then, like, I think there's a French 5, like advanced French or something. I would like to see something like that, like just an elective, and you have your one in middle school, your course in middle school that you can take, and then a more advanced one in high school. This is like, if you want to be like a history major or like a history teacher, a historian or something, this will be something awesome to take, because you learn about a whole community that's never talked about. Never talked about. And I find it weird that they think that, especially in the comment section, that we're just gonna come in and teach their kids about gay stuff. And a lot of these comments, which I find funny, they're talking about, oh, well, I'm gonna go homeschool my kids. That's funny, because you can't help your kids out with shit without yelling at them. They ask you what 2 + 2 is, you can beat their ass and tell them to go stand in the corner. So I find it funny that all of a sudden you're freaking Miss Frizzle with this shit. Then a lot of them are talking about, oh, Wow, well, I'm gonna go send my kids to a private school. Really? You're gonna send your kids to a private school as you text on your Kyocera Hydro Edge that has a cracked screen? And grease in the corner? Really, girl? You have the money to send them to private school. Oh, bless your heart. But this video is getting way too long, and I think I've made my point already. Basically, my point is, and what? And what? Like, I really want to, like, the problem is that I'm an extremely open-minded person when it comes to a lot of things. But one thing I don't understand is why they think that this is going to be like some sort of conspiracy against black people, or why they link it directly to them personally, like we're personally attacking them. It's tired, bro. It's 2019. It is 2019 and y'all still can't figure out that we're just here to live our lives. Like, it's really upsetting that we can't come together as a community, but you know, hopefully the next generation of black people and the next generation of queer people are on better terms, you know, with the queer community being less colorist and racist, and with the black community being less transphobic and less homophobic. Please, literally let these hoteps die out. Let them die out, please, because I'm just, as you can tell, I'm just over it. I just want to, you know, do better for the next generation of queer people, especially the black queer people. And it seems like every time we try to make a step forward, the black community tends to just attack, and it's not necessary. You know, these are the same people who want to come for us just for trying to have queer history, but let someone try to come for Bill Cosby and all of a sudden it's a whole conspiracy, but we're not going to get into that. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I'm emotionally drained. This was a lot of work getting all the receipts, to be honest. But hey, I look gorgeous though. But that is the end of this video. Energy back. Whew. But that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed my content, and I really hope you liked my opinion. If you have your own opinion, definitely leave it in the comment section below, but keep it cordial in the comment section, because there will not be any bigotry, hate, or pettiness in my comment section. If you're going to be petty, keep it cute, but just keep it cute in the comment section, because guess what? The devil works hard, but this block button works harder. But yeah, if you're new here and you watched until the end of this video, thank you so much. Definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification so you get instant notifications whenever I upload. Follow all my social media links in the description below. I upload twice a week. Alright, bye guys.
Thought I'd end up with Sean, but it wasn't a match. Wrote some songs about Ricky, now I listen and laugh. Even almost got married, and for Pete I'm so thankful. Wish I could say thank you to Malcolm, cause he was an angel. One taught me love, one taught me patience, and one taught me pain.